Hi, it's okay.
Yeah. Wait, how do I share my screen?
In the down there is share screen.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, you can see it, right?
Yeah. By the way, guys, don't be shy. Anytime you have questions, feel free to interrupt. It will be more valuable. Last question. Thank you.
So our main repository for backend is here under JobHax. You can find our backend repository. I already created a branch for the Capstone part. So the thing is, we are not working directly to this repository. We are just basically forking it and doing our changes on our own repositories, and then we are pairing the changes to the JobHax backend repository. So first thing you will need to do is fork it. I'm not going to do it because I can't.
Same for frontend. So you can listen it as a whole.
So for the front end, again, we have the separate repo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you mean separate from backend or separate for Capstone?
So there is JobHax / Capstone where Young Green also yesterday already pushed initial one. So we will keep it. We will reuse from the front end. We will fork from the, but Capstone will be independent. We will not push to the front end.
Yeah.
The branching is only in the backend because we're gonna share it. Yeah.
So basically what you will need to do is fork it from here. And I already done it. So this is my forked repository. After forking it, another copy of backend will be on your account, forked from the original account. So after that, you'll need to clone it. So I'll just clone it from the original repository now, that it doesn't matter for me now. So just see. No. So I'm just gonna clone it here for now to show you how to install it. Okay, just clone it. Again, you'll need to clone the repository from your own fork. I'm just cloning it from JobHax just for an example. So it's cloned already. Go to backend. So if you follow the instructions here, it will be really easy to install the backend. So you'll need to install Python. I won't install Python now. We are using Python 3, and it's easy to install if you follow the instructions here. There is lots of instructions for Windows, Macs, and Linux, and also for Postgres too. I won't be going through installation process for the Postgres and Python 3 because there is lots of documentation for it. So after doing these first two steps, you will need to initiate your Postgres to this folder. It's not mandatory, but I chose this folder because it's kind of default folder. I already have a Postgres instance in this folder. Let me show you. So under user, local var Postgres. So since I already have this, I'm going to create another instance for another folder like this. And I will need to start my database. We are using with Postgres, working with Postgres. So, I have a problem in my local, so I will just need to. If something happens like this, it means when you restart your computer or something like that, sometimes Postgres server locked. So you'll need to delete this lock file from the temp. Sorry. Never mind. It's just a problem because I am trying to create two different instances, but you'll not have any problems with that. I'll just start my own server. Oh, it's not working.
Is it because you need to change both to Postgres too?
Yeah, I have changed it already here.
Yeah, but your second after -L, you don't change. You still server.log. Yeah, add this option.
Here?
I don't know, I just suggest, yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I tried it actually. Wait, let me see if it's created. Okay, it's already created here. So let's start this. If it's starting, maybe it's about my local. Yeah, it's about my local now. Yeah, see, it's about my local. Sometimes it's compromised. So yeah, I just started the Postgres server now. After starting the Postgres server, these are optional things. I'm gonna skip it now. It's just for, basically it's for using some sort of features from JobHax, like Clearbit. Clearbit is a platform that we use it for getting companies' details, like company logos or companies' websites, or these variables for sending like activation or forgot password emails to users. So we can skip it now. So after that, we'll just need to run the install sh. Oh wait, wasn't it 777 Sacco?
Yeah, it's change mode 777 and then the file
The
name.
file name.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Okay. With the install sh, basically it's installing all the requirements, like Django or REST framework for Django, all the things that we are using. It might take some time because it's also pre-populating the database, like the countries, some universities or states. So let me open the project. I'm using PyCharm. I was using Visual Studio before, but it turned out PyCharm has really great features to see what you're doing with Django. It also shows the mistakes or syntax warnings to you. So I would prefer PyCharm for
So
development.
do you need to buy a professional version for PyCharm?
Actually,
I mean,
you
do
don't.
we need to buy? Huh?
No, you don't have to. Actually,
Okay.
you can use the
So
public
I can-
version. But for another quick thing, actually for the IntelliJ IDs, you know IntelliJ, right?
Mm.
Wait. If you go this website with the ITU email, you can get 1 year professional license for all the IDs they have, like PyCharm or IntelliJ for Java,
I
WebStorm
was
for
using
JavaScript.
WebStorm before, yeah.
And you can get free 1 year pro subscription with using your ITU student account.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna so So it's asking me for a username. This username is used for the like a admin user. So I'm just going to put basic information here. It's not that important because it's on your local. Just don't forget it. So installation is done now. As you can see, it's just started. So I'll need to change mode for the start SH2. So if you just start it, yeah, it's there. So yeah, it's the main page now. So since it's a REST API, the root has nothing. There's some endpoints for use. To see the admin panel, you'll need to go to admin URL and use your credentials that you created from the previous step. And your admin panel is here. With your the admin panel represents all the database tables that you created within the application, and you will need to register it to the admin panel to see it here. So let me show you like job positions. These all most of the tables are empty now because we just created it, but some of them are pre-populated, like countries or colleges. Yeah, they're already there. So let me continue with the documentation again. We use OAuth, authentication, as an authentication system. So we are basically using bearer authorization, header authorizations to authenticate the user and distinguish the requests and know which user was requesting this resource. So that's why you'll need to get credentials from JobHax backend, like a client ID and client secret, to get JobHax access token from JobHax backend. So to get it, you will need to add an application to your backend, to your local backend, which is here, applications, and add application. So client ID and client secret is here. You will just need to give the user as your admin user. It's going to be confidential and resource owner based, password based, and this could be anything. Just save it. So now you have your backends, client ID and client secret. So let me show you how to get access token too.
So what is this admin and the client? What is the why we are using that feature?
This one?
Yeah, yes.
This is for authenticating user. We are using OAuth mechanism for authenticating the users. So it basically works like the client that wants to interact with the REST API need to have an bearer token to authenticate themselves. So to get that token.
So before I'm writing code, I need to create a client for myself.
Yeah, if you're going to create a local REST JobHax REST API to your local, yeah, you will need to create this. Because let me show you, you will see. So this is our REST API documentations. All the things are here. And if you click run in Postman, it will come if you install Postman application too, actually. I encourage you to install Postman application because it's really easy to test or debug your code with using this. So when you click the Run in Postman button, this Postman collection will be here, all created by me with documentation. So after that, you'll need to adjust your variables, which is your URL, your client ID, your client secret. Just skip it for now, this one. But you will need to prepopulate these in order to use the Postman collection. It's from here, settings.
I think, John, in quick say forward means whenever the front end send the request to authenticate to the backend, that's the right front end before the user.
Okay.
Yeah, like you get the point? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna talk about it now, actually. So all the endpoints are here, okay? And as you know, the first thing for the client is authenticate themselves, right? To use the endpoints. So the first thing is, like, let's say, registering a user. So let me change my variables because it's the same. But I need to change the client ID and my client secret. Okay. Because if you update these, for example, that URL parameter automatically comes here. So you won't need to write every time like localhost 8080 or something like that, or let's say JobHax client ID or JobHax client secret. There's some endpoints that has this. You'll not need to put these variables every time, like copy and paste it. It will automatically be here. So let me try the register endpoint, which is basically registering a user to the JobHax platform. So the body parameters is here and the endpoint is here. Just click send and you'll get the response. So let me check the backend first. So we have a user table, right? And if you check the users table, our user has created here. You can see the name, last name, or anything that we gave here in the body. So let me explain this response. It's basically saying the status. If there's a error, like if this is false, there is an error code or error message that you can use for the front end to show user what went wrong. And about the data part, it depends on the endpoint. If it's a endpoint that you get something specific, it's going to be a JSON object. But if you're asking for a list, let's say a job posting list, it's going to be a JSON array. So with this, as you can see, it returned an access token, expire time, token type, and refresh token. So with this token, because let me see, let's say if you want to update the user profile's photo. So you'll need to use your access token in order to interact with the backend. It's just basic OAuth authentication. You'll just need to put this token to the header, key authorization, the value bearer space, this token. So as long as this token is valid, you can always communicate with the backend. Otherwise, either you will need to use this refresh token to refresh the access token, or you will need to get another access token from login service like this. It's the same, same credentials. If your token expires, you'll need to get another token from login. So, any questions so far? No? Okay.
So the client ID and the client secret only need to create once, right?
Sorry, can you ask again?
Yeah, I mean the client ID and the client secret only need to create one time,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
So the password we store as plain text.
Yeah, we are sending it as plain text for now. Actually, I haven't spent much time for it. I can hash it, but in the backend side, we are storing it like this. SSH 256 encrypted. But yeah, communication like through network, it's going plain, but we can always, I mean, I haven't worked on it, but it's easy thing to do. It will just be hashed.
So how do we create, we need to have access to admin account in order to create other clients, right? So then how do I access admin account? What is the username and password?
You mean this here?
No, this is changing user, right? Just now you create a user.
Yeah, that's correct.
So once I sign in from install SH and start SH, once I'm in the system, I'm an admin. Or do I in other permission, then I need to sign in admin?
Oh, while the install SH, it asks a username, email, you see, right? And you create the admin account. So
I create myself.
yeah, as you can see, I put admin at admin.com, a password, and it has created this account, which is which is status is super user, as you can see.
Okay.
Just a second. So yeah, like super user. So if you go here, it will ask the credentials, and you just put the things that you created before in order to access to your admin panel.
Okay.
So yeah, it's basically it actually. The most important part is to understand the authentication thing, because you'll need to, let me go some deep on it. This token helps the backend that if it's a valid request, or because we know which token belongs to which user, like here. So this tokens belongs to this user. So when you are doing some things like user specific, like updating something for the user, like for profile photo, right? We know which user are requesting to change password or change profile photo. So this token helps us to distinguish the user and make the authentication process smooth. So the installation part is like that. If you go through the documentation, you will see all the things like how to create a job application or delete it. All the current features of JobHax has the documentation here. It's already up to date, and it's also up to date with your branch too. I just created this branch from master. So Sako, should I continue with? Oh, let me continue with Django. Actually, Django is a framework that you can create server-side applications. As you know, it uses Python. It's pretty easy to implement actually. As a with a pure Django application, you can actually develop a like composite application that includes the front end and back end side inside it. Like they say, HTML templates. Basically, you put some HTMLs to your Django application, and it processes some Python code and pass that information to HTMLs. but we are not using like that. We are at first, when we want to start this project, we decided to go with REST API, which means JSON REST API, which means you go request the endpoint and you get a JSON result from another client, which is we call front end, and you parse that JSON and you show that information in front end part. So in order to do that, you'll need to we had to use some additional framework on top of Django, like REST framework, which is basically doing the JSON conversion thing. REST framework social auth, which we are using it for Google authentication, or like these are for database. So yeah, so let me go through with the structure. So when you open the backend folder, you will see these modules. It's called apps in Django terminology, but basically they're just modules which works kind of independently, but dependently on this application. This JH REST API is the main app that manages all the modules. So there's just two important things in this. One of them is settings, which includes all the settings you have, like which hosts are allowed, or which apps are installed, or which middleware you're using. You shouldn't be caring this part much because it doesn't change that much. It's just like kind of a static page, static file. But this part is kind of important because this urls.py is managing the whole routing system. Let's say when you go this URL, it basically Django runs and basically comes here and see if there is any path that matches with this URL, and if there is a match, and it just basically routes that URL to these Python files, let's say users, right? And there's another URL py. When I put users here, it basically comes here. Oh, sorry, it's not get users. It's like this. Yeah, API users, right? When I put this, it decides, oh, there's a path that routes here, and I need to route there, and it routes here. We have these endpoints here, and you can see all the endpoints. So it basically works like this. And there is like different apps that we are using, like users, job applications, reviews, companies. But with working with the Capstone project, I think you will focus on job posting part, right? Like companies creates job postings. So I think you will need to create another applications here. Let me show you how to create a new application to these modules. So you'll basically do Python 3 manage.py. By the way, this manage.py file is the core thing that you can add features to your Django application. So when you try to do something like creating an app, you'll need to use manage.py. If you go to the install stage, you will see like everything needs to be done with manage.py file. So let me create a basic application. So Python 3 manage.py startup. Let me see, job posting. So yeah, it's here. So after this, what you will need to do, let me examine the things that we have here. Admin.py is the file that you need to register your database tables in order to see them on this panel. I told you before, right? So let me create a database, or show how to create a table. So let me quickly copy paste some to not spend more time on it. So the models.py is responsible for carrying the database tables. So if you come here and create a posting model, so let's say we don't have this for now. So let's say we want to create a posting table into our database. Basically, you come here and create a class which extends from Django's model class, and you put some columns or features for that table, like a title, character field, description, character field, max length. I'm not paying attention on that now. Or is published, default is, let's say, false. So once you created this model, it needs to be created into database too, right? So Django works like this. When you change any changes on the database or tables, it will need to migrate it to the current version of the database, which works like that for every application or every database. So in order to sync your database with your current tables in Django application, you'll need to create migrations. So if you run this code, oh, wait. After creating this application, you'll need to add the application here in settings.py in order to tell Django I have created this application. Yeah. So as you can see, it created a migration under job posting migrations folder here. Let's quickly check
wait,
it.
say for. So when I also open the file, I got an error that says unable to import Django. Right? Do you get the same error?
Wait.
Right, from the line 3. Let's say from line 3, I get it from every Python file. It says unable to import Django.
Unable to import Django?
Yeah.
Which part did you get it? During the install sh or?
In Visual Studio.
In Visual Studio?
Did you install Django? Safe means
Yeah, do we need to
install
install Django?
Yes.
But I don't see any instruction. So I assume that once we install Postgres or something else, we install Django, right? You see, there's no installation of Django. It is built in somehow, right?
No, it has the requirements txt here. So the first thing is it's the install sh initiating the database.
Yeah.
And creating the database users in order to access it, and then installing the requirements txt. As long as you have the Python, which comes with PIP3, it's the first requirement is the requests, and the second thing is Django.
Django. So it is inside the requirement.txt.
Yeah.
Okay.
Does he, excuse me, does he have to import it into the application? Like in PyCharm, for example, you have to go to preferences and then import that library you want to use, even if it's installed on your machine. Like install it into the project.
Yeah, if you are using a virtual environment, you will need to import or install that requirements into your virtual environment. because in default, if you create an application on PyCharm, it creates a virtual environment, which means it's like a clear environment that doesn't have any software or libraries in it. You'll need to install, even if you have in your machine, like globally.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe that's his problem with Visual Studio, but I don't know. I didn't use Visual Studio before.
Yeah, I can go over with him after finishing this. Actually.
Yeah, maybe. Okay, thank you. Continue.
So what I was saying, yeah, we made the migrations, right? And it created another thing here in order to sync the database with the current version of the application. As you can see, it's created the migration, and it says create model, name, posting, ID. It's like auto incremented unique identifier, like it happens in all the database systems. And the things that we created, like title, description, is published.
So say for another interruption, sorry.
Yeah.
So I got the same error, like is package requirement. You see on top of yellow row, you have an invalid title interpreter, right? This is, we just set up the interpreter, right?
Yeah, it's not that important. You can just.
Yeah, that's not important. Yeah, but for the second part, package requirement, do we need to install the requirement?
These parts?
Oh, yes.
Oh, you see this in PyCharm now?
Yeah.
As long as it works, it's fine, because sometimes it just conflicts because I have more than one applications on my local now, and it sometimes conflicts. But as long as you have successfully ran the server code.
So just now you ran the server code in your terminal, right?
Yeah.
You are not running in the PyCharm.
No.
So how would you develop? So first you run on initiate your database on terminal, then you come to PyCharm, you change your code. Is that what you do?
Yeah, I just.
Or do we initiate the DB inside PyCharm?
Oh, for the DB, it's here.
Yeah.
Actually. It's this one who initiates the database.
Okay.
And it's. I didn't really configure my PyCharm to initialize the database, but I'm pretty sure you could do it from here.
So basically you are using PyCharm as an editor, just an editor. It doesn't do anything else.
Yeah, kind of like that. I'm also using it as a, like, seeing my syntax warnings or errors, you know.
Oh, okay.
Or as I said, you can easily configure it here because it's fully supported for Django. I just didn't configure.
Oh, okay.
All right, then that means it created a model, which is a table into the JobHax database now. So I was talking about this, right? So let me register this. To our admin panel. Right. Okay, just register. Right. Okay. So when I register it, it automatically. Oh yeah, I forgot the thing. Sorry. So it created the migration, right? So this migration is useless unless you apply it to the database. This is just an interface that creates the things that should be done to the database, and you just need to apply it. So in order to apply it, you just need to run the migration part. It basically scans all the migrations folder into the application, and if there is something not synced with the application, with the database. It just runs that migrations, which is, we just created this and it just ran that. So if you can see, there was an error, let's saying like you have 1 unapplied migrations, your project may not work properly. I just did that. So let me refresh this page. Let me see, that should be there. So I'm not sure if it's why it's not here now, but it should be here. Actually, let me see if it's interesting. Oh, okay, let me continue. I don't know why it's not showing in the admin panel. I think, I mean, I did everything. Everything should be fine.
Is the name correct? Zeva posting? Is it same? In the models and
yeah, yeah, I already imported from models, so should be.
Okay.
I don't know why it's not working now, but
did you apply the migration? It looks good.
Mm-hmm.
So
see.
Do you want to restart this guy or Python?
Wait, I just need to kill the port first.
Yeah, pkill -9 Python 3.
I have a shortcut here.
Okay. You need to start. Did you start server?
No, I'm just starting it now. Yeah, it was a syncing problem, I guess. So the posting panel is here. It's not necessarily, you don't have to register your models here, but if you are planning to see the data in your tables and like if you want planning to change them or delete them, if you need a panel for that, it's good to register them here. So let me continue with how to create an endpoint. So as I said, the first thing that Django does comes here when a request arrives and decides if there is a matching route that Django can redirect. So in order to create an endpoint, you'll need to create the main part. Like we have this for users, and this is the main routing point. So you'll need to create this point into our main application. Let's say we're just saying job posting. And yeah, you'll need to create a URL spy here. Let me copy. So basically, it's just a, okay. So when it sees this route, it's gonna redirect it to here. And the empty string represents the root folder, which means here. If I run this, it's gonna come here, route here, and in here there's a route path. So it's just going to run this function in WeaveSpy. So the next thing is WeaveSpy. This is the place that you write all your logic as functions. So let me create a function for now. So yeah, when this URL called, this function will work. I don't think it works like this because it's just an empty, because as a REST API, you need to return something to the user. Probably it's gonna give some error. Yeah. As you can see, it says you didn't return any HTTP response. So let me continue with the serializers. There is a serializer file too. So as I said, it works with the Django models as database table. So if you think like when user requests for job postings, right? What I need to do, go to the table, query the job postings that user needs, like a list, and serialize it, kind of encode it to the JSON, like a meaningful JSON to the user. So to convert the database table model to a JSON model, we'll need to create some serializers that does those conversion automatically. So let me create a serializer for it. Our model was posting serializer. So the basic serializer is like this. It has the model needs to be serialized and the fields that you want to include. We have title, ID is like predefined, right? ID description is published, which is like pretty much it. So this serializer does the thing to conversion between the database table model to the JSON model for the client. So let me continue with writing this view. I don't want to waste time. I'm just going to copy it. Not FAQ. Okay. So I had to prepare these before. I'm just gonna explain. Just give me a second. Posting serializer. Let me see. So this is a basic thing that you would want to write first. Basically what it does, let me explain. This CRSF exempt is, you can ignore it. It's kind of Django thing. There's a thing that's called CRF token that you will need to create a token, a unique token, in order to post something to the Django, but it's just ignoring it. And this thing describes what kind of HTTP methods could be used with this endpoint. As you can see, it just says get. If I include post, that means this endpoint just takes, just uses the get and post endpoints. Other than these will be rejected, like with unallowed method, like put, delete, or something. So let me go with get. So basically, when this function runs, it goes to the posting table, to the database, and query all the posting objects from the database, and returns it as a JSON array to the user as a JSON response. This create response is just a util function that I wrote before. It just takes the data, needs to be returned, and success status if there's a paging, paginator, and if there's an error, what's the error code? It's just organize the response with puts the success, error code, error message things, and if there's pagination, it puts the pagination to the JSON response, and if it's success, it just puts the data to the JSON. So so this API also forces the endpoint, it needs to be authorized, which means it needs to have that the bearer authorization token in their header. So you can't really run it without a authorization token. So let me try this. No. Let me get another token. And once you get a token, you can put it here. It will automatically goes there into the request. You will not need to put every time. So let's try our endpoint. I'm just going to change this. What did I put as a URL?
Job posting.
Job posting. Okay. So job posting. As you can see, there's already defined authorization header, which works with this variable, which I already defined here. So I won't put the token here. I'm just gonna hit send. So yeah, we get a success true response with an empty data. Why? Because we don't have any job posting. So we could write a function that creates a job posting, but I think we're kind of out of time. But if you go, like, there's lots of endpoints here. Like, if you see how to create a job posting, it's pretty easy. Actually, same thing. So let me create some job postings manually here. So when I hit send again, yeah, as you can see, as described in the serializer, wait, let me go with some more. I defined these parts into the serializer. Let's say I didn't say the ID, I didn't include it. As you can see, it doesn't include the ID, but ID is still there in the table, but I'm not serializing it to the JSON response. So another thing, let's say you want to, like it's getting all the postings, right? But there's like predefined query functions in Django that you can use. Let's say posting objects filter is published is true, which means return just the things that is already published. And one of them is published, one of them is not published right now. Yeah, the published one is here. Or let me go with the creation part too. I think we have some time too. Because Sako?
Yeah, we have the time. I think you guys are fine. I think it's really important parts. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
5 minutes more. So let's say if it's a post request, you'll need to, by the way, we are working with JSON bodies, which means when you're trying to post something to an endpoint, you will need to post JSON data in your request body like this. And in order to read the body here, you will need to so when the client requests this endpoint with this body, this comes here from the request data, as you can see. So let's say we want to create a post request which creates a job posting. So post any posting. I'm gonna skip the check part because you will need to check some things if it's in the body or something like that. I'm just gonna assume all things are fine. So post title is, let's say, going to be body's title, and post description will be the body's description. And then you just save it. And actually you can also return the saved object like this. So let's try then. Our body has title and description. So I'm just gonna change this request to post request, and I'm just gonna add a JSON body which has title, description. Oops, it's not working. Oh, yeah, as you can see, I forgot to let the endpoint accept the post request. and you just get 405 method not allowed. So as you can see, it returned the created object is published false because we defined that thing default false. If you don't give anything, while the creation part is just false. So if I get request, it's not going to be here because it's not published. And if you go to your admin panel, you will see the object is here. And if you change it to published, of course, it's going to be here. So let me see. Creating endpoints, creating URLs, and views. I think that's pretty much it for now. I don't really know what to talk about right now. And
For authentication, Seifa, maybe you could from the Google how to get it.
For the authentication?
Yeah, for Google authentication.
Oh, yeah.
Just visually, it could be.
Yeah, because since we are using an automatic parser from the user's Gmail account, in order to use that, you will need to authenticate. You will need to get a token from Google too. So let me start. So for this, it has the for parsing part, we have a background task. So you'll need to run this. It's just a background task runner. It's okay. It's just fine. To authenticate yourself with using your Google account, there's a thing here, step 8. You'll just need to go here. It's just a product from Google. You can authorize a demo application with your account in order to play with the authentication token. In this part, it's all here. You'll need to grant 3 authorizations. Gmail read only, and let's say Google Plus user profile and user email. You just click the authorize APIs. It's just Google's demo application. You go with your account. And then it will show the authorization code if you say exchange authorization code for tokens, you will get the access token here. So this access token has the ability to read your, to see your email address, profile, basic profile information, and read your Gmail inbox. So in order to run the parser, or in order to log in with your Google credentials, there is an endpoint for it, which is like authenticate a user with using their social account. So if you go to body, so I'm using Google as a provider, and Google token is this, and of course JobHax client ID and client secret. If I hit send, as you can see, I got another JobHax access token, which I can interact with the JobHax backend right now. And at the same time, with the Google token, a background task already started working, and it's just parsing my job applications through my Gmail inbox. So let me see if it's parsing. Yeah, as you can see, it started to parse from my, excuse me, from my JobHax, from my inbox to the JobHax backend. Let me see if the task is still running. Okay, task has finished. So let's say we didn't have anything in this table, right? With just one click, it's just populated this job application table with my job application data from my inbox and related to my account. As you noticed, there was no this user, this endpoint. It basically created the user with the Gmail credentials, like my name, my surname, username. And with the using the token, it just parsed all the job applications from my inbox. So if you go to job application endpoints and let's say go get job application list. No, need to change this token with this. So these are not important for now. Yeah, as you can see, all the job applications from the database is here. Yeah, Sako, you were talking about this, right?
Yeah. Is it clear, guys? Any questions in this part?
I'm still figuring it out. Like, what's Postman's job between the yeah.
Between what?
Yeah, go ahead.
Postman is just a tool that you can simulate the client, because let me ask a question. How do you simulate a post request? You can do it with your Explorer or Firefox. You can't do it with using Firefox or something.
Yeah.
How do you simulate a post request?
You just like make a button or something?
Yeah, in the client, yes, but
Yeah.
as a backend developer, you will need to test your endpoints, right?
Yeah.
To simulate your code if it's working correctly.
Definitely.
Yeah, in order to do that, either you use your terminal to run some sort of curl. It's Python, but there's a curl option that you can use, or you will need to write these requests, right? Postman is just a tool that you can easily simulate all the things. You can even change the HTTP methods, bodies. It's just a user interface to simulate the things.
Okay, one more thing.
It's not related with the development part. It's just for the testing and simulating part.
Okay, one more thing about the serializations. I didn't get that part. Like, what do you serialize with what?
Okay. Okay. So let's say when the GET request is here, right? It's basically going to the posting table and querying all the postings which is published value is true, right?
Yeah.
So after this, for now, there was 2 postings is published true, right? So after this code, at this part, these postings variable will have 2 postings.
Yeah.
But it's just a representation of, let me show you. It's just a representation of these models. Like a model that, like a wrapper represents the database table into the Python interface. It's just like an interface. So if you try to return this here as a JSON, it's going to give some errors because the application doesn't know how to encode that database table representation into JSON response. And it's supposed to return a JSON response, right?
Yeah.
So that representation of table, database table needs to be converted into meaningful JSON, right? And this serializer just takes them, like as you can see, I put this and I said many, which means there will be more than one posting.
Yeah.
And takes these and internally change that representation into JSON representation and returns it to me. And I'm just giving that JSON to JSON response.
Okay. I get it. Okay, awesome. Thank you.
It's just the column names to the key, yeah, Seifa?
In
the table,
in the serializer?
Yeah.
Here?
Yeah, it's take the column name and convert it as a key. Or?
Yeah, that's correct.
It's
and
just like
you could also use all. Let me see. Where did we use? Like this. This means return all the things we have here, but it's gonna be, it's gonna return all the things, including the ID, which is not shown here. It's just predefined. So if you put this, it's gonna return all the things you defined in the table.
Maybe you can also explain the meta class and default string function briefly.
Yeah, for default string function, it's not that hard to understand. It's just, let me put this here. It's just, it says the Python, actually, not Django, or it's not related with Django or something. It just says to Python, this class's string representation is its, let's say, title plus its description. So when I run this, let me see. It was saying, it was saying posting 0, posting 1, posting 2 here, if you remember. When I come here, it was saying posting 0, posting 1, posting 3, or something like that. But after I put this, the string representation of that model is the title plus space plus description, which is this. It's just a string representation of the model. And what was the other thing? Okay, the meta thing. Oh wait, what was it? Oh, the meta thing is just no, not the. What else? Oh, if you put like, there's some predefined things. I don't really know any of them, but like the ordering means when you query something, like notifications, right? Without giving any specific query, you're just, let's say, querying all the data in the notification table. It's just basically ordering it in ascending order with credit at field.
Oh.
Just a predefined ordering, like a order by expression in SQL. I don't even know what other things we have in Meta.
Can you show the documentation for the Django, which is related to the project?
What do you mean, Django documentation?
So right now you have this, let's say in notification migrations. So what does this migration mean? We have admin, apps, model, serializer. There should be somewhere some documentation which explain what does urls.py, what is this views.py, and what other Python file that Django accept.
You can start with wait. If you don't know Django, you can start with the Django tutorial, which actually Django has a tutorial itself, starting from scratch, creating says, explains you how to create the application from scratch, like start project, start another app, do some things, and what does And after this, it's not enough. You'll need to look at the REST framework too. But after you understand the Django, going into the Django REST framework is just easy, because you will know what to do or what not to do if you learn Django.
Okay. So how does this Postgres interact with Django? It looks like we just start the Postgres, and then anything else in Django, we just put it there, and then we focus on the Django.
Mm-hmm. As I said, with these models, once you created this and go to terminal, whenever you made the changes in the tables, like I created this table, right? And I did make migrations, which created the migration to the database. This part, created this. And I just migrated it, which means apply these changes to the database. And it went to the database, created a posting, created a table named posting with the columns, fields, ID, title, description is published. So the creation part is like this. Django interacts with the database like with this model and migration part. And for the accessing the data, it has just special wrappers like here, like this. Within the Django model, you can easily access the data into the database with using the wrapper functions without writing any SQL commands. It basically converts these things into SQL and runs it into Postgres, but it just automatically does it.
Okay.
You don't have to deal with the SQL part. You just use the wrappers to query things.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was going to, it's the Django REST framework, and this is the Django tutorial. So any other questions?
Therefore, if you could just create the branch and push this in the branch just as a reference.
I shouldn't push this, it's just...
As a branch.
Yeah, I created a branch,
As a reference.
but I just didn't check out it. Let me see.
Just as, yeah, in case you guys need some basic Git commands now.
You use checkout -b. That's the fastest.
Sorry, what?
Git checkout -b.
Yeah, I'm not gonna push anything to this repo directly. That's why I'm going to change I'm just gonna do it afterwards.
Okay.
Because I'm gonna put this into my fork and then I'm gonna peer it. I don't want to push it.
Yeah, just
directly.
you can say, you can create the branch reference job posting or something that.
Yeah, it's here.
Yeah, just Capstone is our master, guys. Whatever you are PRing against not the master itself, against the Capstone.
Okay.
Yeah, I think once from there, if all good and tested, we can merge to the master itself in the end.
I have a question regarding this. Like, are we doing like, what kind of strategies that we're following to merge our changes, I guess? Like, are we gonna do like fork the repo to our own repo, or are we doing branches?
Yeah. You will fork the this, and you will check out the Capstone, and then you do the changes into your.
Yeah, I'm not very familiar with the fork. Usually that we do like branches. So can you like just quickly show us like how you're gonna merge back the changes to this repo, I guess?
Yeah, sure. We'll just fork it.
Yeah,
If I can.
You have that
again. I think I can fork again. No, it's just went to my, okay. So let me go to my already forked repo, which is here. So let's say this is the repo that I forked to my account. So let me change something. Right, and I'm just excuse me. So you just commit it to your repo as usual. Actually, you'll need to check out your branch too, but I'm just showing the.
I think Seva, we can do also this command line, maybe git add commit.
Yeah, as you wish.
So do you just push as master? I don't think it's a good idea to push as master.
Yeah, it's just my. Wait. It's my master. Like, I mean, yeah. This is my account. This is my fork. You'll need to check out the Capstone branch, of course.
Okay.
So after you commit, it says this branch is one commit ahead of JobHax master. It will say this branch is one commit ahead of JobHax Capstone, right? And if you if you click the new pull request, you will see your changes here. It could be like multiple commits or something like that. You know, you can bundle it, and you will just need to create a PR. It says the title or description. What did you change? What are the changes? And after.
So for the base, change from master to capstone there, from JobHax backend. Yeah, from right one. Right, yeah. No, base, that is master. Yeah, that's what we're gonna do, guys. Like.
Yeah, you will just need to put the title and description here and create a pull request. And
from your fork to the JobHax backend capstone.
Okay.
So actually, let me do it. If you create, I can. After that, I will see the pull request here. And says commit into JobHax Capstone from my fork, right? I will just review it, or not me. Like, I know he's gonna be responsible for reviewing it. I could review it, but I don't know. After that, you just merge it to the JobHax Capstone. So it basically works like a branch, but it's like a branch that you own it into your account.
So now who has the permission to merge?
I think me and Sako right now.
Okay.
Yesterday, I think I added you guys, but not for the master, for the capstone. That you should do. Just in case. I guess we are all adults, so I guess there shouldn't be any problem. Just make sure nothing to the master itself, to the capstone. In case, if anything, we will just delete that one. So.
Yep, that's what Git's for.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if there is no questions, I can deliver it to Egemen for the front-end part.
Thank you, Sefa, so much. And I will start another recording. Guys, do you want a break?
Yeah.